bustling village of Okafor, nestled deep in the heart of West Africa. The sound of drums echoed through the air as the sun dipped below the horizon. It was a time for celebration, a time when the villagers gathered to dance, sing, and tell stories around the fire. But there was one story that everyone avoided: the tale of the Golden Cowrie Shell. The Golden Cowrie Shell had been passed down through generations, a sacred relic said to hold the wisdom of the ancestors. It was said that whoever possessed the shell would be granted untold power. But with it came a curse that had claimed the lives of many who sought to control its magic. One day, a young man named Ikenna arrived in Okafor, having traveled far from the neighboring village of Amaka. He was ambitious, full of energy, and driven by the desire to make a name for himself. He had heard whispers about the Golden Cowrie Shell, and like many before him, he believed that he could conquer the curse and unlock its power. As Ikenna entered Okafor, the village elders, led by the wise old woman Amina, watched him with suspicion. They had seen many young men like him, full of dreams but lacking wisdom. They knew that the Golden Cowrie Shell was not to be tampered with by the foolish or the arrogant. But Ikenna was undeterred. He sought out the elders and demanded to know where the shell was hidden. Amina, her face lined with years of experience and her eyes sharp with foresight, looked at him carefully. "The shell is not for you," she said. "It is for those who seek wisdom, not power." Ikenna laughed, dismissing her words. "Wisdom? Power? I seek both. I'm destined for greatness." That night, as the stars twinkled above, Ikenna sneaked into the village's sacred shrine, where the Golden Cowrie Shell was set to rest beneath the roots of the ancient baobab tree. His heart raced as he dug through the earth, finally unearthing the shell. It glowed faintly in the moonlight, shimmering like liquid gold. He held it in his hand, feeling its warmth, its power. But as soon as he touched it, a chill ran down his spine. He could hear whispers, faint at first, then louder. A cacophony of voices calling his name, pleading with him to return it. But Ikenna, driven by greed, ignored the warnings. He tucked the shell into his pocket and left the shrine, unaware that the curse had already begun to take hold. The next morning, the village awoke to a strange sight. The once fertile land around Okafor had begun to wither. The crops, once lush and green, were now brown and brittle. The river, which had always flowed with crystal clear water, was now murky and still. Ikenna, however, paid no mind to the changes. He walked through the village with the Golden Cowrie Shell in his hand, his mind filled with visions of power. He imagined himself as the ruler of the land, his name spoken with reverence across the villages. But his excitement was short-lived. As he passed the village market, a blind beggar, sitting by the roadside, turned to him and said, "You have taken what was not meant for you. The curse will follow you, child." Ikenna scoffed, but a shiver ran down his spine. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. That night, Ikenna's dreams were filled with visions of ancestors, angry, vengeful spirits who rose from the earth, their faces twisted in torment. They whispered his name, chanting in a language he couldn't understand. The Golden Cowrie Shell, glowing brighter than ever, pulsed in his hand, pulling him deeper into the dream. When Ikenna woke, he felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The village was in chaos. People were falling ill. Livestock were dying, and the once vibrant community now seemed on the brink of collapse. The curse had claimed its first victims, and it was clear that Ikenna was to blame. In desperation, Ikenna sought out Amina. The village elder listened to his story, her face unreadable. "You sought power, but you have forgotten the lessons of our ancestors," she said softly. "The Golden Cowrie Shell is a symbol of balance. It does not bring power to those who are unworthy, but rather exposes their flaws." "I never meant to harm anyone," Ikenna pleaded. "I just wanted to be great." Amina sighed, her eyes filled with sorrow. True greatness comes not from the things you take, but from the wisdom you share. You must return the shell to its rightful place before it is too late. Ikenna, now humbled, knew what he had to do. With the village watching, he walked back to the baobab tree. He placed the golden cowrie shell at its roots, and as soon as he did, a rush of wind swept through the village, and the earth seemed to sigh in relief as the shell returned to its resting place. The curse lifted. The village flourished once again. The crops grew tall, the river flowed freely, and the people were healed. Ikenna, now wiser, understood that true greatness was not in power, but in humility and respect for the earth and its people. The golden cowrie shell remained where it belonged, a reminder to all that wisdom is not something to be taken. It must be earned.